our next meeting of the Redondo Beach Planning Commission. We have a full house here, so we can maybe do a roll call.
Commissioner Light.
Present.
Commissioner Boswell.
Present.
Commissioner Young.
Present.
Commissioner Gaddis.
Here.
Commissioner Conroy.
Here.
Commissioner Hazeltine.
Here.
Chairperson Craig.
Present. Shall we have someone lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Commissioner Young, would you like to do so?
I would love to. Please rise. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So can I get an approval for the order of the agenda?
Motion to approve the order of agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Blue folder items, these are blue folder items are additional backup material to administrative reports and or public comments received after the printing and distribution of the agenda packet for review and file. Can we receive the blue folder?
Do we have any blue?
I don't think we do we? Or am I wrong?
No, we didn't get any. Unless it was last.
No, I didn't see anything on there.
But if any exist, I motion to receive and file them.
I will
Very
second
good.
that motion to receive.
There aren't any.
Very good. So next on our agenda, we have the consent calendar. These are business items except those formally noticed for a public hearing or those polled for discussion are assigned to the consent calendar. The commission members may request that any consent calendar items be removed, discussed, and acted upon separately. Items removed from the consent calendar will be taken up under the excluded consent calendar section below. Those items remaining in the consent calendar will be approved in one motion. The chair will call on anyone wishing to address the commission on any consent calendar item on the agenda, which has not been polled by the commission for discussion. Each speaker will be permitted to speak only once, and comments will be limited to a total of 3 minutes. We approve the affidavit of, I guess that's
Do we have anyone to poll?
anything anyone wants to poll.
Motion to approve the consent calendar items.
Second.
I would like, oh yeah, we'll approve the items. We haven't got to the items yet. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah. I don't know if this is, I may have done this out of order, but on the approving the minutes for the item F2, I have to recuse myself on the April 17th minutes. I was not here on that meeting.
Okay.
So do we want to approve the
Motion
omissions?
to approve the F1 and 2. Oh, I see.
Oh,
Yeah.
you just can't vote. That's all.
Right. Gotcha.
I could vote for everything but the April 17th one.
Just
Gotcha.
vote for none of it and make life simple.
That might be easier.
Okay. So we've already voted.
Yeah, we already
to approve it.
Oh, we voted
Good.
in favor. Great. We'll move on. Next, we have excluded consent calendar items. I don't think that would apply. Public participation on non-agenda items. This section is intended to provide members of the public with the opportunity to comment on any subject that does not appear on this agenda for action. This section is limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes to address the commission. Each speaker will be permitted to speak only once. Written request, if any, will be considered first under this section. And I have a card from Mr. Jim Mueller.
Good evening, Commission.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Years of staff hours and council meetings have been spent to determine whether cannabis retail should be in Redondo Beach. Cannabis is under multiple shadows: legal shadows, financial shadows, health and wellness shadows, product quality shadows, not to mention law enforcement shadows. Still unsure of its decision, the council is spending $45,000 to survey the citizens to see if they want to RFP for a cannabis seller. Yet when a survey absolutely free to the city asking if people want a farmer's market on Artesia Boulevard shows an overwhelmingly positive yes response, the council and the city staff appear unmoved and unmotivated to do anything. So why has the city spent so much time on cannabis retail, a shady enterprise catering to sneaky Pete's trying to cop a high, and so little to a weekly Saturday morning event attracting family-style community gathering? It's a mystery to me, although many have their suspicions. Yes, there are farmers markets every day of the week somewhere in the South Bay. Well, the only one on Saturday morning is 5 miles away in Torrance. The Riviera and Hermosa Beach markets are on weekdays. People living in North Redondo want one on Saturday mornings, and it isn't all for the bananas and blueberries. They want a regular occasion for a family community gathering. Now, I've heard that once the FAR is increased, major bar owners like Project Barley, California Surf Club, and Quality Seafood are considering opening on Artesia. Well, that's great for evening bar-style entertainment and not necessarily great for families. It's also not great for the restaurants on Artesia. I urge the commission to advise the council and the city to look more seriously into establishing a Saturday morning farmers market on Artesia. Thank you.
A clarifying question to our question asked. Are you aware that the city has over $1.1 million in additional funds that we haven't spent toward a gun range that would be perfect to have a farmer's market and probably have a lot left over to pave Grant Avenue too?
I am not aware of that, but thank you for bringing it up. And I've heard you speak on that, and I didn't know that money was floating around for availability.
It just needs to be reallocated. Yeah, it needs to be reallocated back in the general fund, but since we didn't get the grant, and we have about 1.1 million left over, and I think it'd be a perfect use of that. I've been in favor of what you're proposing for quite some time. I think it's a great idea.
Well, thank you. And you know, it's a lot cheaper and easier to set up than any other kind of development on Artesia at the moment. So it'd be a good start.
Absolutely. You had a
I
question?
wanted to ask, what are the rumors of why we're not having one in Artesia, on Artesia? You said
Well,
people have ideas on why.
I think one of the problems is that people don't have a perspective that is a serious development project. People think that the big developers are going to come in and spend millions of dollars. Councilperson Obagi said that. But what I think is more important for development is to get the community out on the street and into the area that will attract business people and revenue to the city from Artesia Boulevard.
Big companies that might develop Artesia, it would be good for them to see people who live in that area out buying stuff, spending money.
Exactly.
It would be great for that. And frankly, does it have to be on Artesia? It could be in any of the parks, right? I mean, I don't see where there's a good excuse not to have it somewhere in North Redondo, frankly.
Yeah, well, good. The reason I mention Artesia is because Artesia is the commercial district that we're trying to develop.
Right.
And that's where I would think the business people would want to see people. And people are important to business, as we all know.
Well, I think if you look at the nodding heads here behind the dais, I think we would definitely be in agreement. That'd be a great use of funds, and I think it would benefit the community. I think it'd be a great idea.
Fantastic. Thank you for the feedback.
Got it.
And a hell of a farmer's market with $1 million.
Exactly.
There could even be a weed shop. One of the weed shops could be in the farmer's market.
Okay, next.
You know, weed is grown by farmers, right?
At any rate,
Shady ones, apparently.
Thank you.
thank you, Jim.
You know why farmers have so much respect.
Okay, well, we don't have any more cards. Is there anyone online that wants to join in?
There are no e-attendees at this moment.
Thank you very much, Jamal. So next we have ex parte communication. This section is intended to allow all officials the opportunity to reveal any discussions or ex parte communications about the following public hearings. Anyone want to reveal any ex parte communications they've had?
Nothing from me.
Mr. Boswell.
I not only did not talk to anybody, no one would talk to me.
Mr. Young, Commissioner Gaddis.
Yeah, I had a conversation on J2 with Councilperson Barrett. That's it.
Commissioner Conroy.
Nothing to report.
And Commissioner Hazeltine.
I had conversation with Chair Craig.
Very good. I had conversation with Commissioner Hazeltine, Mayor Light indirectly on J2, and Councilmember Scott Barrett with the J2 as well. So we shall now start on J1. This would be discussion and consideration of possible action on an exemption declaration, conditional use permit, Planning Commission design review, and variance for the addition of a new concrete cast-in-place mausoleum to existing mausoleum on property Pacifica Cemetery located in a residential R1 zone, case number 2025095.
Motion to open public hearing?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And before we start, should you do your presentation first, or should the individuals ask? if they
We
want to?
should do the commissioners that feel they need to recuse themselves should
Okay, yeah, and
make that statement now.
very good. So we have two commissioners who, based on their the residents being within proximity of the zone that we're supposed to be excluded from, would be recusing themselves on item J1 tonight.
That is correct.
That'd be Commissioner Boswell and Commissioner Young. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, I could turn it over to our senior planner, Stephen Jiang. He's the project planner on this project, and will provide the commission with the presentation. Thank you.
Very good.
All right. Good evening. My name is Steven. I'm presenting this item tonight at 2701 182nd Street, in addition to an existing mausoleum on the property, also known as Pacific Coast Cemetery. The subject property is approximately 17 acres in size. The zoning is currently single-family residential R1, which is legal nonconforming, as the existing use is a cemetery. The property has a number of buildings on it dedicated to storage, offices, a crematory, mausoleum, and a chapel, and about 90% of the land mass is dedicated to grave sites and existing driveways. There are three requests before you tonight. First will be the variance. A variance request for a reduction in the side yard setback for this addition. A conditional use permit is required. The Redondo Beach Municipal Code requires a CUP whenever an expansion to an existing cemetery is proposed. And then a planning commission design review is also required. The city of Redondo requires a PCDR whenever any addition greater than 1,000 square feet is proposed to a non-residential structure on a site that is larger than 10,000 square feet. The surrounding site contexts consist of properties that are zoned public right-of-way to the east, low-density multifamily residential to the north, a public school facility to the west, and single-family residential to the south. The actual developments on these properties are as follows. To the east, railway tracks exist. Multifamily developments are located to the north, school facilities to the west, and then single-family homes are located to the south. On the east side, particularly further east, is also the transit center. I have some photos from that as well, so we'll look at those later. The proposal itself is to construct a 1,892 square feet mausoleum addition adjacent to the south end of an existing mausoleum. Here you'll see the addition in green and then the existing building surrounding it in black. The proposed addition is rectangular in shape and approximately 19 feet wide by 112 feet long and is approximately 16 feet in height. The finished materials will include granite and stucco. The new structure will add about 312 casket spaces and 648 niche spaces to the cemetery. For the variance request, a variance is requested to allow a reduction in the side yard setback where a number of special circumstances applicable to the property exist. The proposed mausoleum addition is located along the eastern property line. It's technically the setback requirement for the zoning district is 5 feet because it is in the R1 zoning district. However, if the property were set back 5 feet from the property line, it would reduce the width of the overall structure and result of an elimination of planned niche spaces for this mausoleum. Additionally, it would also not align with the existing eastern wall of the adjacent mausoleum, here shown in red, thus creating an unattractive nuisance to the vacant space that would exist between the structure and the property line fence. It also should be noted that the structure cannot be physically moved closer to the west because of the location of existing graves and the driveway that currently exists. And overall, the proposal is really to try to match the existing facade of the larger building to the east that currently is there. The project elevations are as follows. This is from the front and the back. I said earlier, the height is about 16 feet and 3 inches. The structure is 112 feet long and 19 feet wide. The only building that is going to be facing the back of the structure is the existing storage building that is there now. Here is the side elevations of the structure. This is 19 feet wide. So on the left side, this is what the mass transit side is gonna, and the railroad tracks would see. And on the right side, when you're on the private driveway of the cemetery, this is what you will see. So here's a picture of the existing eastern building from the transit center. The red box essentially is where the addition will be that we're talking about tonight. Might be a little bit wider, but not too much wider. The mausoleum itself contains a 383 square foot interior room for I think it's a display of urns. The remainder of the building, the rows you see, will be used for caskets and urns. The niche space is a little bit unique to this project. It's open to the sky, so it's not roofed. It's surrounded by 4 walls that are 15 feet in height. The layout is almost like a courtyard, so I try to illustrate it here. So on the left side, the red arrow, the red box is on the eastern end of the addition. And when you zoom into it, it's an open area that you walk into to view the inside of the building, or it's not a building, but it's 4 walls really that displays the urns. The squares that you see within the green line itself are actually the spaces in which the urns will be kept in. And then the lines you see are essentially slope lines that will indicate the drainage at the center of the courtyard, quote unquote, for drainage. The elevations itself show what the wall will look like from the exterior side, which will be finished with granite or stucco to match as much as it can to the existing structure that's currently on that eastern property line. Here are some photos of my site visit. So on the top left photo, it's essentially where the addition is going to be, facing the existing building to the north. On the top right photo, I'm standing where in front of the addition where it would be, looking at the existing building. You can see kind of the rail line behind it. You can see that the topography is up a little bit, and so it helps protect views of the structure from really the only public side that anyone can see when you're outside of this property for this specific spot in the property. The top or the bottom left corner is looking south, facing what the front of the mausoleum would look like. You can see a little bit of the storage building back here behind the proposal. And then here's existing driveway here that is not being changed. And then here's just a closer look of the transit center and the railroad tracks to the east of the property. The property's configuration and surrounding create a special circumstance that justify the variance. The mausoleum site itself is narrow, has a narrow area along the cemetery's eastern boundary, directly adjacent to a railway right-of-way, rather than another private parcel or residence. Enforcing the required 5-foot setback would reduce the mausoleum's width and eliminate planned crypt and niche spaces. Because the adjacent property is a railway corridor with no habitable use, maintaining the setback would serve no functional or aesthetic purpose. Therefore, the strict application of the zoning code would deprive the cemetery of a reasonable development privilege consistent with its long-established institutional use. The variance does not constitute a special privilege, as the second finding shows, as it allows development consistent with the established cemetery use and maintains compliance with the intent of the zoning district. The adjustment only accommodates the site-specific constraints created by the adjacent railroad right-of-way and ensures that the addition aligns with the existing structure that is there without granting development rights unavailable to other similarly situated properties. And lastly, the variance supports the objectives of the Redondo Beach General Plan by allowing the continuation and improvement of existing institutional use that serves the community needs. Additionally, staff believes the project meets the conditional use permit findings and the Planning Commission design review findings. For the conditional use permit, it supports balanced land use and is supported in the general plan. The project is not expected to generate a significant increase in additional traffic. No adverse impacts are expected with the proposal since the project is mostly internal to the cemetery grounds and faces an adjacent rail line. The conditions and design were integrated in a way to ensure protection of public health, safety, and general welfare. For the design review portion, since the project is utilizing existing circulation, parking, and doesn't impact any traffic or noise, we believe that it meets the first finding. The project is also being built on level ground with very minimal grading required. It matches the existing structure within the same site for visual continuity and also provides additional compatibility. And lastly, the varied facades add depth and do not negatively impact nearby properties in terms of design and appearance. Therefore, staff's recommendation is that the Planning Commission make the findings as set forth in the staff report, adopt an exemption declaration, and grant the requested conditional use permit, Planning Commission design review, and variance subject to the plans and applications submitted. This concludes my presentation. Staff and the applicant are available tonight for any questions you may have.
Great. I will open up, this might be an obvious question to Mr. Scully, but do any of these units count toward our housing RHNA numbers? I'm sorry, I had to ask because there's between 312 niches and it's like 960 units, and I don't know if those count as permanent.
It would be nice. We could
Well,
use
I mean,
the
can we
credit.
argue that since these are occupied by people who used to live in homes, those homes they lived in are now open? So
Right.
perhaps that would be additional inventory we could count toward that. I don't know. But on a serious note, this location obviously is right next to not one, but 7 underground pipelines that are to the side. Have the survey been done to make sure that this is very close? I know some of the residents who lived further on the other side of Inglewood Avenue have had situations where they, every time folks are working on the pipelines there, there was obviously a sinkhole that happened there, one home for several years. So are we anywhere near something that could potentially create a problem if they start digging or excavating over there?
Not that staff is aware of. The surveys did not show any pipelines underneath the specific site for the construction portion of this project.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I mean, that's every time we look in that area, we're always concerned about that because of if something should happen there, that would be pretty awful. So,
Yeah, and I might add, through the building permit process, there'll be dig alert requirements and contacting and notifications to the agencies that our building division requires when you're doing excavation.
Okay, very good. Any questions from any of the commissioners?
No?
I don't see anyone. I guess any public comments on this item?
Hold on.
Oh, sorry. You didn't. I didn't see you.
Raise your hand.
I wasn't quick enough.
Okay, please go ahead.
Now we can move on.
Let's see. Has there been a study to show how this expansion will increase funeral-related traffic or visitation frequency?
A study wasn't required for this project, but the anticipation is that it will not increase any significant traffic because the adding of the services are still going to remain the same in terms of frequency as it currently stands. All they're doing is adding spaces. So it's not going to, they're not anticipating a significant increase of traffic on a regular basis.
But it's anticipated that it will increase visitors, right? More visitation sites would.
Yeah, it will increase the visitors, but it's not significant enough to trigger a traffic report. It would need to be more than 110 visitors a day, different than that's there now to trigger one.
And you may have touched on it, but I just want to ask, will this building be consistent in elevation to the existing buildings using the same materials and facade and colors?
They will try to match as closely as they can, so they'll use stucco, but the granite won't be 100% exact. Carissa can provide more detail on that if she has a better answer. But it's still going to be granite, but I don't think they can guarantee the exact same granite is being used for all the facades.
Okay.
That's there now.
But they would attempt to.
Yes, they're going to try to match it as close as they can.
Okay. Have neighboring residents been notified and provided feedback?
Yes, so we did. This was publicly noticed, and we received no public comments for this project.
All right, thank you.
Great.
And just the setback issue is just that it would make it too small because of the irregular shape. Did I see that in there? Because usually setbacks are to keep things from getting too close to the property line, causing issues with neighbors, et cetera. And because it's railroad tracks, you're not so concerned.
Yes, that's one of the factors for why staff was able to support the variance for this project.
Yeah, and additionally too, if we set it back to meet the setback, we'd create this space that you couldn't really see adjacent to the railroad tracks, and that was a potential for, an attractive nuisance. So we, all factors considered, it was much better to line it up and have almost, zero
So
setback.
it's better to have
It's,
it
yes.
for that reason. That makes sense.
One more question.
Please go ahead.
Before building permits are issued, has the construction management plan been reviewed or planned to be reviewed by Public Works so that we have an idea of, the covering truck routes, delivery hours, worker parking, and how that affects the surrounding area?
That's typically reviewed during the building permit processing. So after, say, for example, if we do approve it tonight, when they submit to Building and Safety for permitting, that's routed to Public Works separately for their own review, and then both divisions give their own corrections to the applicant. Okay. And so everything has to be satisfied with both Public Works, Engineering, and Building and Safety before it can be issued.
Perfect, thank you.
Very good. Are there any other questions from any commissioners? Okay. So any public comment? We haven't opened that up yet. No public comment. Please come on down and state your name.
Hi, my name is Julie Young. I am recused from the meeting behind the dais because I live too close. My biggest, while I have no problem with the building going in, my biggest concern is not only the pipelines, but the uncertainty of what could come of the row in the coming years if they're going to move the train or the pipelines or any of that. So it feels very uncertain to me because we don't know what's going on with that and how those two projects could impact each other. That's all.
Thank you very much.
Well, in that case.
Come on down, Doug.
Let's make this thing last as long as we can. Doug Boswell, District 3, live across the street. And I would say that the concern about traffic and the concern about visitors is it's insignificant. I see a funeral. I have had a home office there for over 20 years, and I'll see a funeral maybe once a month, and police block off the intersection, everybody gets funneled through, everybody parks inside the cemetery, and there's no problem, and then they all leave. Visitors tend to be showing up on days like Veterans Day and holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and I doubt I've ever seen a day where there were more than 15 or 20 people visiting graves at the same time. The only noise issue that I've ever come across is two issues. Funeral that had a mariachi band that went big time decibel and on and on and on one time, and another time when there was a bagpipe player. It's a very quiet place, and it's very calm, and it's like living across the street from an abandoned park, frankly. I get their mail, so I also know what's going on over there. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any speakers online, e-comments or?
We have no e-attendees.
Okay, very good. Okay, so close public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing?
And second?
Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Do we have a motion or?
How about a motion to accept a resolution number 2025-10 PC 11 as written?
I
Second.
Okay. And all in favor?
It should be a roll call vote.
And roll call vote?
Commissioner Light,
Aye.
Commissioner Gaddis,
Aye.
Commissioner Conroy,
Aye.
Commissioner Hazeltine,
Aye.
Chairperson Craig.
Aye. You're approved. Congratulations.
Get yourself a mausoleum.
There you go. I still wish we could play the arena numbers too.
People are
I like
dying
that.
to get in.
Don't come on. You had to.
The other funny thing is, it's so quiet, it's like living across the street
Didn't bother surveying the residents.
Well, a bit of trivia, do you know the difference between a graveyard and a cemetery? I looked it up. Graveyards are next to churches. Cemeteries are separate. Not that I
Learn something every day.
Welcome
I
back.
was bored while I was watching my grandkids sleep the other day.
Vanish to the
I
other
was reading
side.
this.
From the other side.
And now we have a new meeting to audience participation. Now they're back in the seats. I like this. Okay. I don't know, we acknowledge that we have a full commission here again. No one's recused. So next on the agenda is item J2. This would be a public hearing to consider ordinances amending Title 10, Chapter 2, Zoning and Land Use, Article 1, General Provisions, Section 10-2.402, Definitions in Title 10, Chapter 5, Coastal Land Use Plan Implementation Ordinance, Article 1, General Provisions, Section 10-5.402, definitions of the Redondo Beach Municipal Code pertaining to the definitions of P, which is permitted by right / use by right, in the city's various specified zones and procedures.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And before we start, I wanted to make this comment earlier, but when we have public hearings, it's, while we can all keep track of who's saying what, unfortunately, trying to make a public record of this later with a transcript is difficult if we talk over each other. So while it's frustrating, and I know it takes more time for the meeting, let's talk, and then I'll do my best to call on next. I have to do a lot of rubbernecking because we don't have an automated way of knowing who raises their hand. So just be patient. It makes it a lot easier to keep a permanent record of this later on. Oftentimes, if there's a video, it's difficult to follow, and so we want to make staff's lives easier. Thank you. So we should open up public.
Yes,
hearing on
thank
this.
you, Chair, members of the Planning Commission, Sean Scully, Planning Manager. So before I dive into this item, you know, as many of the commissioners or all the commissioners are aware, this is indirectly related to our housing element. And there was a recent court ruling on our housing element or related to the housing element. I just want to make a real brief statement. The court did not make a specific ruling on the housing element, and the city's position is that our housing element is still certified. And this is not, the housing element is not on the agenda tonight, and I advise the Planning Commission not to raise that issue or discuss that recent court ruling. The city is still evaluating next steps. So wanted to make that before we get to this item, because it is tangent to it. So I've got just a couple of slides. This is a really basic amendment to our zoning ordinance that we're proposing. But again, it's as a result of the coordination we've had with HCD after they reviewed our certified housing element. So just a little bit of background. July 5th, 2022, the City Council adopted the city's housing element. July 11th, we submitted that adopted housing element to HCD. On September 1st, HCD certified the city's housing element and specifically determined the housing element to be in full compliance with state housing element law. Additionally, in that certification letter, they noted that all the rezoning and housing implementation of all the housing element implementation of all the programs in the housing element had to be completed by February 12, 2025. So skipping ahead to 2024, many of our current commissioners were on the commission at the time. We had multiple hearings, June 20th, August 1st, August 15th, and September 19th, where the Planning Commission recommended that the City Council certify the final program environmental impact report for the Focus General Plan update and all the land use element and local coastal program amendments and zoning ordinance amendments and zoning ordinance for the coastal zone updates to implement the housing element, specifically the zone changes for the housing sites and the housing programs. And then council picked it up in October and November 5th and 12th, They certified the EIR, they adopted the amendments to the city's general plan, land use element, and LCP, and all the zone changes necessary to implement the city's housing element, housing sites and housing programs. And then we transmitted all those ordinances and resolutions on January 7th up to the HCD. They reviewed it and they responded back to us just recently, August 27th. They issued a letter of technical assistance, and this letter was attached to your report. And the only thing in the letter, after reviewing everything, was a request that the city adopt an ordinance providing a definition of permitted by right or used by right that's consistent with state law. So that's what's before us tonight. What we have is for all our housing sites, as a procedure, if a housing site or a housing project is to be processed administratively, it shows up as a P in our land use table, and that means it's permitted by right, and we process it effectively consistent with what this new definition says. So the definition says if it's permitted by right, the development is required to be approved ministerially, which we do, if it meets predefined objective standards. And then the development project does not require a conditional use permit or planned unit development permit or any other discretionary review. And that's the way we practice anything that's permitted by right now. And then the development project is not a project per CEQA, and it's exempt from CEQA. And we make those determinations routinely within anything that requires an administrative permit. So this just formalizes what we already do and what the state has requested us to do. So that's the definition that we have. We sent this up to HCD when we routed it to the commission. We haven't heard back yet. We anticipate they'll probably get back with us before it goes on to the city council. And then with that, and I can go back to the actual language, but our recommendation is that the Planning Commission adopt the attached resolution by title only and make the recommendation to the city council to adopt the definition for permitted by right. And that concludes staff's presentation. I'm available for questions.
I got one question for you, Mr. Scully. Now, this designation P, this clearly only applies to housing, correct?
No, it's actually any project that has been identified as permitted by right. So it's housing, under certain 2 to 15 units. It's single family residential homes, but it's also commercial projects that are internal tenant improvements, additions less than 1,000 square feet, anything that falls under the administrative design review process. So, it also, this definition will also apply to other land use categories.
And why is this needed? Was there some oversight in permitted by use? I thought that you guys had these ministerial rules already in place that didn't come to us with CUPs.
Yeah, we don't know why maybe they felt like they had to say something, I mean, we explained to them, we had a couple of phone calls and we said, well, this, and they brought this up and we were like, well, they were asking us, what if it has a P? How do you process that? And we said, well, it's ministerial. We exempt it from CEQA. We told them everything that this definition states that we would do. But they said, well, we really think we want you to explicitly include that definition. So that's what we're just kind of dotting the I and crossing the T for HCD on this.
I'm sorry.
Well, I just want a quick follow-up on that one. Now, so this applies to all those categories you said, including any housing that might be like a 20% affordable. Because I read the letter, they were focusing a lot on
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that this is kind of a blanket.
It's blanket, but it also specifically, there's a, in our administrative design review provisions for the 20% affordable housing, it's subject to the administrative design review. We added that as part of our update, implementing the housing element. And then by having that in the administrative review process, it's subject to this permitted by right process.
Okay, so it's still in that category. And then I think you mentioned this, I just had a note on this was regarding with CEQA. It's not that it doesn't require CEQA, it's primarily that these housing bills that are coming from Sacramento are exempted from CEQA.
Correct, yes. CEQA still applies because it is a project. However, it's exempt based on statutorial provisions that ministerial permits are exempt.
Okay. And then also, is there, I have to look at the wording again, but I was concerned a little bit about, because we have a coastal area in our city too. So should it only apply to the extent that it complies with the Coastal Act, or do we go there with that?
It would have to apply to the local coastal program as well, any other provision, so that's where item 1 comes in. The development is required to be approved ministerially if it meets predefined objective standards. So those are our development standards in our zoning ordinance and zoning ordinance for the coastal zone.
So that would trigger that aspect in that particular instance.
Yes.
That was a concern I had, because since we have a coastal area, we don't want to be out of compliance with our LCP. So.
Correct. And this same definition is also going to be in our coastal zoning, coastal zone for the
so they parallel
zoning
each other.
ordinance for the coastal zone.
Right, so they do.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Commissioner Boswell.
Don't have that question anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Commissioner Conroy.
Based on your question. First one, so does this expand, reduce, or just clarify existing by right?
Just clarifies it.
Clarification. And regarding coastal zone, has the Coastal Commission reviewed the proposed language to ensure consistency with the local coastal program?
They have not. They will get a copy of this once we amend the ordinance, it's adopted by council, it'll go to the Coastal Commission for their review and approval. And it won't actually become active until that occurs.
Do we know if Hermosa and Manhattan Beach use the same definitions for P, and if that could cause interpretation issues down the line for shared land use applications, or would that not apply?
I mean, that would be a rare circumstance. And I don't think, I would be surprised. I don't know if they actually have a definition. We didn't check on the other cities. We were focusing in on the government code section that HCD directed us to make this consistent with. So, I am assuming if they have a permitted by right, it would be similar to this. Where it could get a little wonky is if we had a use that was on the border that they required a CUP and we didn't, or vice versa. That would get a little weird, but I think that's a super rare. There's only one property I'm aware of that actually is bisected jurisdictionally, and that's the dealership right on PCH and Redondo. Yeah. That's a weird.
Yeah, the Range Rover lot.
I'm not sure how that got divvied up, but
I know the office that pays taxes is in Hermosa. The lot that is Redondo, but where the taxes go are to Hermosa, because that's where the sales office is.
Oh no.
Yeah,
that's a bad deal.
Yeah.
Now we got a question.
Yeah. Please go ahead, Commissioner. Commissioner Hazeltine.
Yeah, it seems pretty straightforward. It's just something that needs to be cleared up. It's just a definition, and seems pretty straightforward.
Yes, that was staff's. We thought, you really need this, and they said, yes, we'd really like you guys to do it. And
makes sense.
We said, hey, we can do it. Yeah. This is all you got to say about our housing element. That's not a lot, but we'll go ahead and make this amendment. And yeah, it's about as simple a correction as you can get from HCD.
Right, it sounds more like it's a technical clarification. more than
Yeah.
anything else. Commissioner Boswell.
So this is something that we're being asked to approve. And whatever we approve, however we approve it, whatever the wording is, it still needs to say the same thing.
Correct.
There's nothing really that could be changed here, right?
No, I mean, not really. I mean,
Okay, so
it's
it seems,
pretty straightforward. We took language right out of that government code section, so they wouldn't, try to wordsmith it or something. So, I mean, they still might, but
so just out of curiosity, what happens if we say no?
we don't, they didn't note any consequences, but we would
Council may not
rather
agree with
not
us.
go there.
Yeah, just to clarify, I think this is, what we're being asked to do is forward this to council.
Right.
So
Yes.
council's going to make the ultimate
It's
decision
really
on
just
it.
a procedural
Yeah.
thing.
It's a
It's
clarification.
only
not
only
a-
landing here
Yeah,
for a
and I
moment.
think that's a
so that
great
we can
way
kick
to-
it up to city
Commissioner
council.
Conroy, I think, said, this is a clarification. That's really all it is.
Does this, can I go again?
Please go ahead.
Are there any negative aspects to this? Is this
I
changing anything as to
no.
how the city does things that are people are going to say, well, wait a minute.
No, because like I said, in practice,
This is
we
how it
make them
works
apply
anyway.
to these standards. We don't require any discretionary entitlement, and we typically exempt them from CEQA.
Okay.
Rare circumstances where we don't, but.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Scully. Are there any other questions from anyone here? Okay.
All right, I'm going to make a motion. Motion that we approve a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Redondo Beach, California, recommending that the City Council adopt a CEQA exemption declaration and amend Title 10, Chapter 2, Zoning and Land Use, Article 1, General Provisions, Section 10-2.402, Definitions, and Title 10, Chapter 5, Coastal Land Use Plan Implementing Ordinance, Article 1, General Provisions, Section 10-5.402, Definitions of the Redondo Beach Municipal Code pertaining to the definition of, quote, P, permitted by right / use by right in the city's various specified zones and procedures.
I second.
And can we get a roll call? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Mr. Hazeltine, sorry.
yeah, I think we need a motion to close the public hearing.
I believe we do. Can we get a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
A motion to close public hearing.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Next is.
All right,
So.
so
Motion. And a roll call vote, I believe.
Commissioner Light,
Aye.
Commissioner Boswell,
Aye.
Commissioner Young,
Aye.
Commissioner Gaddis,
aye.
Commissioner Conroy,
Aye.
Commissioner Hazeltine,
Yes.
Chairperson Craig.
Aye. The motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Scully.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you for
I'm sorry,
clarifying that for us.
Director Scully, you have been approved. There you go. Next is item K, items continued from previous agendas. I don't believe we have any. And items for discussion prior to action. I believe there's nothing on that. And next is item L1, election of officers, the chair and vice chair, which we are to do annually at this point. So do we have any motions or who?
And where are we?
We're on item L1.
L1. All right, election of officers, chair and vice chair. Yeah, I nominate Wayne Craig for a first real term because he's served in the place of Sheila Lamb. So I nominate him as for a term for
I'll
chair.
second that.
Well, thank you.
Should we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Light,
Aye.
Commissioner Boswell,
Aye.
Commissioner Young,
Aye.
Commissioner Gaddis,
Aye.
Commissioner Conroy,
Aye.
Commissioner Hazeltine.
Aye.
Congratulations.
I'll say thank you very much. I'm very honored once again to be considered by all of you. Thank you. We also need to make a motion for a vice chair. I'd like to make a motion for Commissioner Conroy to be vice chair.
I'll second that.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. Do we get a roll call vote for that?
Commissioner Light,
Aye.
Commissioner Boswell,
Aye.
Commissioner Young,
Aye.
Commissioner Gaddis,
Aye.
Commissioner Hazeltine,
Yes.
Chairperson Craig.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
We got officers.
You're on the Commissioner of Vice.
Commissioner of Vice.
Indeed. Next, we have items from staff.
Just a quick update on what's coming, at least onto the council. We're going to bring back, start up November, this coming November, with land use element updates, the general plan update. We're going to get into a lot of the policies in the land use element, the safety element, noise element, and open space parks and recreation, or open space and conservation element. So all that's going to get going again, and we'll see where that goes. There'll be a number of zoning ordinance amendments that are probably going to spin out of that that'll be coming to this body. So you guys have already acted on the land use element. You had multiple hearings on all the comprehensive updates that we've done. What happened was it went on to council, and because of the timing of the housing element that we had to implement, they broke that off and just took care of that after your meetings to get that done before February, that deadline. And so now they're picking it back up, and that we'll be pretty busy doing that. So that's really, just want to give you a heads up on that.
Yeah, the commission, the question on that, Director Scully, with regard to the, this next component of approving the plan, we has to go to a general vote. So are we still trying to get this on the ballot in March for approval, or is that not likely at this point?
It probably isn't likely. I'm not sure, that the schedule's changed a little bit, but I'm not sure. It kind of depends on, we'll have a first meeting with them, and I'm sure the timing and the schedule and what's going to move forward and how quickly that moves, we'll hear back from the council in November on that.
Right. Yeah, because I think the statutory requirements is to put on the ballot, it's got to be like 120.
Yeah, it's got to be
It's a weird time. I know November was kind of like the date we were looking at. So if it didn't happen in November, it would probably end up being a special election after March is what it sounds like.
Yes, it most likely.
Okay. Very good. Any commission member item? I'm sorry.
Items for staff? No.
I'm stepping. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to mention once again, the presentations you do are fantastic. I actually find them very useful. And I'm sure oftentimes you're working on them up until the last minute, but I would just want to remind you that whenever possible, if you could include those as a blue folder item for us, I would appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. We'll do that. I'll make a note of that.
Very good. Any other questions, Commissioner Boswell?
Sean? Yeah. What can the Planning Commission do to encourage the City Council to revisit the North Redondo Farmers Market issue and perhaps widen it to not just Artesia or say a temporary Artesia location?
Certainly, if there's consensus from the commission that you'd like to see the council, move on that, you could put a letter together, draft it as, from the Planning Commission to council, and we could bring that to the council. That would be, one way.
At one of these meetings?
What's that?
Would we need to do that
Put
at
it
one
on
of
an
these
agenda
meetings?
here?
Yeah, I think we would probably need that on items from the commission and agendize that, if that's what, the consensus of the commission is. And then you would discuss that and basically come up with how you want to communicate that to the council. And I don't know if you'd need a subcommittee or anything like that to actually draft it. Or it could go, we could articulate it and then add it to the Planning Commission list that goes to the council as part of the strategic plan update. But it wouldn't, it could be something you want to agendize and discuss.
Let's definitely agendize it.
then
Any
you'd have to, you know,
So we,
Any
do we,
issues
so
on
we
that?
have a
All in
motion
favor?
to agendize that, so we need to have
Do
a,
we have to talk about that as a group, or how does that work?
well, in order,
You have to write a letter as a group.
yeah, in order to communicate to the council, we have to agree as a commission to agree to write the letter, I believe. So
I think I heard everyone agreeing that it's a good idea to at least talk about it.
So I need a, so someone wants to take a motion to bring that up and we can discuss that, to have it agendized for a future
I'd like to
discussion?
make a motion to discuss farmer markets, either on Artesia or other areas.
North
to
Redondo.
North Redondo to come back to the council.
And I
The
second it.
planning
Letter to
commission.
council.
I would second that.
Council, it's a right,
Right.
a referral to council.
Recommendation of council.
Right,
Is time of the essence? Because if we're going to wait a month to talk about it and then prepare a letter to council, that's 60 days out before they get anything. Should we make a subcommittee to prepare a letter?
Want to do it now?
Aren't we recommending staff prepare their letter?
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's what I thought.
no, it would have to be
We
for
would have to do that. I
this
think.
body.
Or we'd have to come up with a letter?
Yeah, you guys as your body would come
So
up
what
with
would
that.
be the best way to expedite that, have a subcommittee then?
Yeah.
Want to do that now?
God, I wish I had the bylaws in front of me. I think there's a, yeah,
In the past, I think, I'm sorry, Commissioner Hazeltine.
Commissioner Hazeltine, go ahead.
Yeah, I think in the past, we've been encouraged, we might just want to talk to, as individuals, to council 3, 4, and 5. That might be the fastest way. Send them off letters as individuals
you
to
know,
the planning commissioner.
yeah.
I mean,
you
from the
could do it
planning.
informally.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, in addition to
It'd
that,
be
I
better
mean,
to have a formal request from the planning commission?
Chair,
please go ahead, Commissioner Conroy.
Sorry.
as, in my capacity as a past chair for budget and finance, there were times when I would prepare a letter for council. And it would either the fellow commissioners would trust me to represent the commission, or I would form a subcommittee with one or two other commissioners and prepare the letter and submit it to council. So that's another option. Certainly, we can do it as individuals, but if we want to do it as a body, it should come from you.
Correct. Yeah, I'm fine with whatever. I mean, the main thing I'm looking at, I would consider it obviously expedited as best as possible.
Yeah.
Because, we certainly want to have this drag on for 2-3 months. It'd be a good thing to do. And as I mentioned, Mr. Mueller, there's $1.1 million sitting in an account that we could apply toward that.
And I would be comfortable with you and/or Commissioner Boswell speaking on this subject, or preparing a letter directly to council on this subject.
I'd be happy to help out.
Okay, so do we need to vote to create a subcommittee and then do that, or we just, how do we?
Does it really have to be
Yeah.
a subcommittee? Can it just be
It can
a
just be
letter
you two
from,
guys.
a letter that you write that maybe
It's on behalf
you
of the
ask me for input
commissioner.
on, or I'll proof it?
And we could put it on the agenda, and then you could decide on the letter at the next meeting.
Now we're at 60 days again.
Yeah, I'm trying to
No,
think.
no,
we could-
you could decide now.
Right.
I mean, it's tricky because it's not on, are we on items from commission right now?
Yes.
Okay. So you could, technically, I think you could just make a decision as a commission that somebody's going to write this, and then it's agendized at the next meeting, and then you bring that back, and then you confirm it as a commission to forward it on to the council.
So that would be a
If the
30
commissioners-
days then.
If the commissioners are in favor of it, we can give
the authority to do that.
the authority to the
Okay.
we can form the subcommittee and give them the authority to speak on our behalf before we meet again.
okay.
Okay, that would be easier.
Is that your motion?
Yeah, make a
Okay.
motion.
So
Yeah,
moved.
you can make,
Any seconds?
Any seconds to the motion?
Second.
All in favor?
I,
I think we will do that.
Thank you.
Very good idea.
one less item on the agenda next time.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, and certainly make it quicker. So
I
that's good.
think we have to,
Okay.
think
To
we-
adjourn.
no.
What?
I think we need, okay, correct me. We have someone that wanted to speak on J2 and we didn't realize that. So I think we have to open the public hearing
Oh,
real
you-
quick, have him speak
Yes.
and then close the public. So I'd like a motion to open the public hearing on J2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Mueller, sorry.
Thank you so much for doing that. And I don't want to object to the topic itself, or to your action on it. But this housing thing has become a legal issue that's important to the city. And I've had encounters with all of the housing laws having to do with issues in my neighborhood. And I know it's a murky area that the public doesn't really understand. So what I was going to ask you to do, if you can, to try to, there's got to be some way to educate the public on what's happening with the housing in general, and specifically how this latest issue is going to affect Redondo Beach. Because if you're going to ask people to vote on it at some point, there's going to be a lot of questions people have, and nobody likes to go into the voting booth ignorant. You want to know something. So I suggest that the city have an education program for the people on what are the issues in housing and how does that affect the citizen of Redondo Beach. I know I've had encounters with housing law having to do with things in my neighborhood. And it's very frustrating when you say, well, we can't do anything about that. The objective standards thing was another thing. Used to be that you could have the plans reviewed for neighborhood standards. Does it meet neighborhood standards? I was told no. You now have to have objective standards. You can't have the sort of fuzzy emotional. It looks like the neighborhood kind of thing. So also I had a problem with trees. The trees. The developers have been able to change the laws and so on so that they can clear cut and don't have to preserve the trees in neighborhoods. So there's a lot of housing things I think that people need to know about. And if you could motivate the city to help educate them, especially before they have to vote on something, that would be really great. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, and to add to that, certainly there's a lot of misinformation that comes out too. If you ever read the letter to the editor section, there's a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with what the actual process was. And obviously we're more expert on it because we've had to deal with it. But the general public, when I talk to them, they don't understand a lot of the stuff too. So certainly that would help out a lot. I think though, we're probably not going to get the city to respond very quickly because of the current lawsuit going on now or potential. So that probably will, once that some kind of game plan comes up after the ruling, we'll probably get a lot more information coming. And I would certainly be happy to encourage that at council meetings when I speak, that they should be doing a better job.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I might add we're.
Second. Whoops.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
I would second that.
Just, there will be some education, I'm sorry, on
Already
housing,
packed up and ready
on
to
housing
go.
laws coming to this body. Because we're actually
Last day of school.
going to ask the city attorney's office, we haven't asked them yet, but there's so many housing laws that are coming, it's just blowing up. And there's some real expertise in the city attorney's office that we're going to make a request to have some training at staff level. And then that might be something we want to, and there's a project that's upcoming that is going to require us to do some education of this commission on at least one specific housing bill. And then there's so many. So yeah, we're going to have some education coming.
Yeah, there was well. Like in my line of business, I know 6 laws just got passed recently that 4 of them are going to go into effect on January 1, and no one knows how they're going to be applied yet.
Yeah, another change to ADU laws is coming, and haven't seen them yet, but they just got signed.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, certainly a very fluid environment. So yeah, very good. So a motion to adjournment. Are we ready to do that now?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you again.